The first thing to do is to create a backup of your Posterous Space. Even if you don't follow these instructions all the way through before the 30th of April, create the backup, because you can create a new blog from that backup even after the 30th of April. There will be no Posterous after that date, so there will be nowhere for you to go to create the backup. You will have locked yourself out of your own content. In the top right corner of your space, there's a backup button. Save the zip file to a convenient location on your computer's hard drive. You may find you need to download and use WinZip to extract the contents. In certain cases, although it may say the file is quite sizable, when you use the built-in File Explorer on your computer, it looks as though it's empty. You can download WinZip from http://aka.ms/winzip. WInZip. Once you've extracted the files in your backup, look for a file called WordPress_export_1.xml. That's the file you'll need if you leave it until after the 30th of April, so make a note of its location. This is a Posterous Space owned by my colleague, Andrew Spooner. I'm going to use his space to show you how you can migrate a Posterous blog to a personal WordPress blog website. This is a website that you own, not one hosted on WordPress.org. You'll need to do this before the 30th of April, because that, as I'm sure you know, is when Posterous shuts down. If you plan to migrate your site at a later date, you won't be able to unless you've already backed your site up. I'd encourage you to do this now. It's simple. Just click the backup button in your Posterous Space and save the zip file to a convenient location on your hard drive. At least if you do that, you'll have a copy of your Posterous Space under your control. Moving your Posterous blog. There are 7 steps to this process. 1. Create a free Windows Azure trial subscription. 2. Create a WordPress blog running on a Windows Azure website. 3. Download an FTP client. 4. Download the Importer plugin to import your Posterous Space into your new WordPress blog. 5. Set up the importer tool. 6. Actually import your Posterous Space. And 7. Set up DNS if you'd like to use a vanity URL. That's a URL that looks something like mrspooner.com rather than a big long URL. So let's get started. First, the subscription. Go to http://aka.ms/azure_trial. Click the Try It Free button. You'll have to log in using a Microsoft account. If you've got a Live ID, a Hotmail address, or an Outlook.com email address, then you can use that. If not, you can create a Microsoft account at http://aka.ms/ms_account. Once logged in, go through the step-by-step screens. You'll need to validate that you are a real person and not automated software set up by hackers. You enter your mobile phone number so Microsoft can send you a text message. When you have the code in the text message, type it into the web page and click the Verify button, then move on to the next step. This is an identity verification step. You won't be charged. You need to enter credit card information. The spending limit on your subscription is set to 0, and it's an opt-in action for you to remove it if you ever want to use more than your free allowance. A couple of minutes later, you're welcomed to your new subscription. Click the Portal button. It will take you through to a little 5-step tour. This is now the next step, step 2. You will create your WordPress website here. Click the Websites link and then click Create a Website. In the wizard, you specify Compute in the first column, Website in the second column, and From Gallery in the third column. Then click the Create Website link in the bottom right-hand corner. On this page, click Blogs, then scroll down until you can see WordPress and click it. In the URL box, type your blog name. In this example, it's called Posterous Blog, and that will give an initial URL of posterousblog.azurewebsites.net. You'll change it to something more meaningful in a later step. There are a few data center locations you can pick in the region box. Choose the one closest to you, then click the right arrow. Give the database a meaningful name. The same name as your blog might be a good idea. I'm calling this one Posterous Blog. It's important to make sure you put the database in the same location as your website. So pick the same region, then click that you agree to ClearDB's terms and conditions, which you are encouraged to read. It'll take a few moments for your WordPress site to be created. When it's done, click the link, in this case, posterousblog.azurewebsites.net. You now need to give your new WordPress site a name and specify an admin account and password, and then give it your email address. After a short while, your WordPress site is created and you can log into it. Once on the admin page, you can start to customize your site. Then click Save and Publish. If you view the site at this stage, it will have just a single default blog entry. So the next step is to import your Posterous site. A quick way to always get to the admin page is to append /wp-admin onto the end of the URL. Step 3. You're going to need an FTP client. If you already have one, such as FileZilla, you can skip this step. Go to http://aka.ms/FileZilla. From here, you can download the FileZilla software. Make sure you pick the relevant version, Windows, Linux, or Mac. Save it to a convenient location on your hard drive, and then unzip it and double-click the FileZilla setup file to install it. You'll use it to copy the Posterous importer plugin to your website in a few moments. Step 4. Now you'll download the Posterous importer plugin. You can download this from http://aka.ms/posterous-dev-importer. Save the file to a convenient location on your hard drive, then unzip it. It's called posterous.php. Step 5. You're now going to set up the importer plugin. The first job is to copy it to your website's plugins folder. First of all, you need to do a few things with credentials on your website. Go to the Windows Azure Management Portal and click the little arrow next to the name of your website. Then click Reset Deployment Credentials. Then enter the username and password that will be created for transferring the importer plugin to your website. You can choose any username and password. Start FileZilla, the tool you downloaded earlier. Now go back to the Windows Azure Management Portal and copy the FTP hostname into the paste buffer. You don't need the first few characters, the ones that go FTP://. The hostname you copy will look something like this: waws-prod-am2-001.ftp.azurewebsites.windows.net. When you have that in the paste buffer, go back to FileZilla and paste it into the host text box near the top left corner. Go back to the website management page and copy the deployment/FTP user into the paste buffer. Then go back to FileZilla and paste it into the username box. Finally, type the password you just created into the password box in FileZilla and click the Quick Connect button just to the right of the password box, and you'll see a message saying Command Pass. If you get an error, check your typing. Now use the file system on the left-hand side to find your Posterous PHP file, the one you saved earlier. Drag it to the sites/www-root/wp-content/plugins folder of your website on the right-hand side, like this. Now go back to your WordPress dashboard. If you've lost the page, you can log in at http://yoursitename.azurewebsites.net/wp-admin, where your site name is the name that you gave your site right the way back in step 2. Log in using the WordPress credentials you created in step 2. In the left-hand pane, click the Plugins link. You should see the Posterous Importer plugin. Click the Activate link next to it. Step 6. You're now ready to import your Posterous blog. Now, in the left-hand pane, below Tools, click Import. Then on the main page, click the Posterous link. This is where you enter your host name. In this case, mrspooner.posterous.com. Then the email address you registered at Posterous and your Posterous password. These credentials will be used to pull the entries from your blog to this new WordPress site you've just created. Click Submit. At this stage, you might need a little patience. If you look at the importer status, you'll see the number of blog entries that are being imported. If you have a big blog with many thousands of entries, this will take some time, but smaller blogs will complete in a few minutes. Eventually, a status page will appear. For any entries that have no comments, it will inform you that the comments were skipped. There's no point in importing nothing. You can now click the Posts link and you'll see all your blog entries. Your readers can simply read your blog by typing in your new URL. And on the topic of URLs, we come to Step 7, the final step. To use a vanity URL, you need to register a domain name at a registrar. In this example, I'm using GoDaddy, one of the popular registrars on the internet. I've registered a domain called posterousblog.com. You have to pay the domain name registrar for this service. You can see the domain name in the zone editor. Each domain registrar will have a slightly different way of doing this, but the principles apply no matter what registrar you use. On the GoDaddy domain management page, I create a special record called a CNAME record. In this case, I make the www entry point to my Windows Azure website's URL, posterousblog.azurewebsites.net. It means a user will be able to type www.posterous.blog into the web browser rather than the rather more clumsy posterousblog.azurewebsites.net. The next job is to configure the website to use shared mode. Then you can manage the domain name and add your vanity URL, in this case www.posterousblog.com. Notice the green exclamation mark that appears. That means this domain name is known on the internet. Sometimes it might take an hour for the change you make at the domain registrar to take effect. With some registrars it might even take 24 hours, but mostly it happens within a couple of minutes. Now go back and copy the IP address. With this in the paste buffer, go back to the DNS management page and enter this data into the A record and save it. A stands for address. You should now be able to open a new tab and use www.posterousblog.com as the website address. Now your readers simply enter the URL, in this case www.posterousblog.com, and they can scroll through and read whatever blog posts capture their interest. Of course, you will have used your own blog name, not posterousblog.com. You're done. Congratulations. You've moved your Posterous blog to a Windows Azure website running WordPress. Now you can start experimenting with WordPress themes and the look and feel of your site, but that's not the topic of this video. You can run this site for free for 90 days. After that, if you want the site to run, you'll need to remove the spending limit. If you find your site is spectacularly popular, you can scale it out, meaning more and more servers will be added to run your site. This costs more, but you can use tricks. Like for example, if you find it needs to be more powerful between 6 PM and midnight, then scale the server count up at those times and scale it back down again at all other times. You'll only have to pay for the computing power, storage and data transfers you actually use. In shared mode, currently, each server costs £6.11 per month, rising to £9.11 when the software comes out of preview state in the future.